Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Troy Duke. What's up, the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this. It truly does take teamwork to make the dream work. So look, as cliche as that may sound, and you read it in books, and you hear it in seminars, and probably on podcasts now, teamwork makes the dream work. I mean, look, we say this to our kids all the time. We say teamwork, and they'll say makes the dream work, and they'll finish the sentence for us. But yet, it's really incredibly true, and it was never more evident, I don't think, than I think in most recent occurrences than this past 48 hours. As on Friday afternoon into Friday night, my wife started having some difficulties. She's still breastfeeding our son, and she started to have mastitis. Now, men, you cannot possibly understand this at all. Women, if you've had it before, you understand it. And if you've had it severely before, you really understand. This is a severe case. So much so it knocked her down. She had about 103, 104 degree temperature. I mean, we're talking down for the count. It took her out Friday night and all day Saturday into Saturday night. And it's been for you, here, just imagine getting kicked in the balls 10 times and then getting kicked another 100 times and multiply that by 1,000. And then you can probably understand what it feels like as a woman to have mastitis. And women, you're probably shaking your head right now like, yep, he's about onto it. So anyway, to draw that picture for you of the pain that she was going through. But then it rolled into Saturday. And on Saturday, Daddy's now got double duty. And unfortunately, you throw another whammy into the mix because Walker, our youngest, was now running a fever as well, and he wasn't feeling well. So now we've got two soldiers that are basically down for the count on Saturday, while we've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old who all they want to do is play. And you've got Daddy trying to go bouncing back and forth between taking care of Mommy and Walker and taking care of the kids. And at one certain point, because look, we all do this. Like, if there's anyone out there who's never sat there and done this before, like you just wanted to like lose your shit, then you're probably lying, or you're just a much better human being than I. I am, on the other hand, going to be just honest and authentic with you in the fact that there's 1 or 2 points in the day where I just wanted to pull my freaking hair out. And it wasn't anything major. Like, I look back on it, it wasn't anything major, but it was just a go, go, go type of a day. Meaning, go make sure Walker's taken care of. Make sure Leah's taken care of. Come back, make sure the boys are taken care of. Make sure they're not at each other's throats because we're inside. We need to be outside. They're getting cabin fever, man. It's time to go out and play. And kind of bouncing back and forth. And at one point in time, my wife Leah looks at me and she's like, now you know how it feels. And I laughed at her, and in my head, I was like, yeah, I get it. Because I don't take her for granted. I understand she does a lot of work, man. She does a ton of work. We're really good at dividing and conquering, too, where one of us goes one way, the other one goes the other way, and boom, we meet in the middle, and we, like, get shit done. And in this particular scenario in my head, I'm like, yeah, but you don't typically do this when there's 2 people sick. Typically, we're all healthy, and we're all hanging out, and we're doing stuff together. There's, like, that stress, and then there's this stress. But yet I still told her, I get it though. Like I had to walk away. I didn't say it right away. Just to be clear, I didn't say right away like, oh yes, well I get it. I just like nodded my head and I'm like, yeah, but you're not dealing with 2 sick people. And I walked away and I thought about it and I'm like, she's right, because this is what moms do. Women step up to the plate all the time in these scenarios for their families. And I'm a dad who steps up for my scenarios in the dad department and taking care of my family. Like, I am a leader here. And so this isn't about that. It's not about shying away from a leadership position. It's not about like the stress of having 2 people that are sick and then trying to tend to the other 2 who are doing really well and making sure everything's moving forward, which, by the way, it all moved forward. What it's about is the understanding of team. What it's about is the understanding of support. Like, so many of us forget that we have support in our lives. Like, the fact that I was doing this now on my own was just a realization for me of how important we are as a team. And that's what it really unveiled as I sat there at night, and we had other issues that came up that night with Walker. And fortunately, everybody's doing great now. But, as she fell asleep, I made sure they got to bed, and I sat up, and I just kind of sat there, and I'm like, like, it was just a rough day. Like, you don't want to see your loved ones sick, and that's where the stress comes in, is you don't want to see them sick, you don't want to see them hurting, and you don't know how to take care of them when they are. And so we were able to take care of that situation and get them both taken care of. And then there's taking care of the other 2 so they don't feel like they're being neglected and they feel like they're being played with and taken care of. And God bless them, because they both rallied and like brought Mommy toast and water and they really took care of things. The thing is that when you step back and look at it though, you go, wow, what a great team. Like, in this scenario, I was set on my own, But fortunately, Wyatt and Watson stepped in, man, and they helped to the teamwork side of it for that day. And it didn't mean they weren't kids, and it didn't mean they weren't running around and getting to each other's nerves, but man, they were a part of the team, and they really shined when I needed them to shine. And I look then over at my wife and say, what a great team. When I look at the two of us, and we're great together. We are powerful together. We're powerful separate, but we're even stronger when we're together. And that's a dynamic that I think that we all look for. And it's also a dynamic that we have to understand we have in our lives. If you look at your life across like body, being, balance, and business, if you look at the 4 domains that we talk about all the time, like there is somebody in your corner and supporting you when it comes to your fitness, and you may or may not be listening to them, or your health, and you may or may not be listening to them. I know as a chiropractor for years, for 20 years of having people come to me and wanting help, but yet they don't want to do anything about it, right? So it's like, I can support you in this, but I can't save you. And yet, if they do something about it, I know that they're going to flourish in getting chiropractic care. And if they don't, I know that they won't. And look at relationships. And in relationships, it's like, man, if you have somebody in your corner, if you have a man or a woman in your corner, somebody who is there to support you and be a teammate with you, then you got to work together, because teamwork truly does make the dream work. And then if you can coax your kids along the way, I don't know if coax is the right word, but if you have your kids along the way and you teach them the same thing, you teach them that there is strength in numbers. That yes, there are some things in life that we have to go and do on our own. There are things on Saturday I had to do on my own to make sure that shit just worked. But at the end of the day, we have this team, my wife and I, and our kids, and when we come together, we are strong and we are a unit. There are so many people in life who have support, but they don't use it. I know this as a coach. I tell all my clients, I'm like, oh my gosh, reach out to me, reach out to me. You know when they reach out to me? When the shit hits the fan, and now I'm supposed to fix it. And now the advice that I give them, they don't want to take. It's like that happens. And it's like, well, you know, if you would have been taking my advice all along, then this situation would be easier right now. You have support all the time. Don't just use it when the shit hits the fan. Use your support when you are even like kicking ass and taking names and identifying where you could course correct. What are the lessons that you can learn? How you can accelerate your growth. And you constantly ask these different questions in order to get to where you want to go. But ultimately in this discussion and taking this away from this experience with my wife, and God bless her, because I know how much work she does around here. I know when everyone's healthy, I know how much work she does around here. And yet this is a powerful woman. And she's come together, and we are a powerful couple because we work together. And we support each other in that growth. Where in your life do you have support and you're not using it? Like, just let that one sink in for a second. Where in your life do you have support and you're not using it? And then part 2 of this is, where in your life could you have support if you would just have a conversation with the person or people that you need support from? So many times, and I have this conversation with my boys all the time, like, you got to ask. You got to tell me what you need, because I can't read your mind, right? So you can throw a fit, and adults do this. They throw fits. You can throw a fit and close people off and not talk about it, or you can ask and have an actual conversation to figure out what would work here in terms of support. And I've had clients do this to me. They're like, man, there's just something's not working here. Can you help me out? I just can't figure out what it is. And when we talk about it and when we work through it, boom, we can find another level. There are people as patients who have done this over the years. Like, something's not clicking for me. Can you help me? Can you support me here? I know you're here to support. Can you help me and support me here? So where in your life, across body, being, balance, and business, do you have support and you're just not using it? You're basically an asshole. You're asking for help and support, and then you're doing nothing with it. People are giving you the advice, and you're doing nothing with it. So you're an asshole. A-S-K-H-O-L-E. I didn't say asshole. Asshole. Okay? And so, like, look at that and just take that advice and use it. And then you come over here and say, where in your life could you have support? But you need to have a conversation with somebody. You need to talk to them and let them know what you need and see what they need and how you can come together and become a stronger team and a stronger unit. I certainly hope that this message sits with you today, folks. This is one that I just look in and I kind of sit here and look back over the weekend. And Saturday was just crazy, man. It was just dog-ass crazy. And yet we got through it. And so I'm still even trying to sit back and pull some lessons that I've taken away from it. But the first one that I have to share with you from that experience is simply this. this, that you have support in your life. I know you do, and you're just not using it. So how about using it? And that can create power in those numbers. And there are people over on the other side that you do need to have a conversation with somebody. And let me be clear, this is not about saving. This is not about somebody coming and saving your life and throwing you the life preserver. This is about somebody supporting you on the journey. And when you work this way in life, it doesn't mean sometimes you won't need a little bit of extra help along the way. And it doesn't mean that you won't get it, but people can't help and support you if they don't know that you're open to it, or if they don't know what you need in the first place. Give it a shot. I promise you it's going to help you to have a great start to this week. That's all I've got for you here today, folks. Hey, as always, I'd really appreciate it if you just head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, tap into, type in Commit and Go, the podcast, and just rate, review this podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And even if you would share it with friends and loved ones that you think would benefit from the fire I share here every week, Monday through Friday. And on a final note, hey, Summer Splash 2019, this is going to be mind-blowing. This is a mastermind that is going on through the summer. It is not going to take away from your time in the sun. It is not going to take away from your family time. In fact, it's going to give you more family time. It's going to give you more fun in the sun. It's going to help you to be even more productive this summer than possibly you've ever been before. Email me personally, drtroy@commitandgo.com, and I'll be more than happy to forward you the information so you can be interviewed for this process. That's all I've got for you here today, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, thanks for listening. As always, I am Dr. Troy Dukowitz. This is Commit and Go Podcast, and we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action to create big-ass results in your life and business. We'll hear you next time. Bye-bye.